AITA, for refusing to drop charges in exchange for saving my family? Backstory for context, but you can skip. I, 33M, met my wife, 33F, in college. It was a long-term physical relationship that turned serious at the end of our senior year. After graduation, I didn't have plans, so I decided to move to her hometown, major southern city. I didn't know anybody, so we were together 24/7 and moved in together within a year. During this time, I met her family a few times. She had a huge extended family where her mom, Sharon, was the matriarch. Her dad died in a workplace accident, and her mom got a lot of money. She was smart and invested and is doing well. All of Sharon's sibling and nieces/nephews look to her for advice on all major life decisions. She's paid for school, weddings, and helped start businesses. My wife has two brothers who I always got along with. We would hang out independent of my wife a few times a year. We got married after 3 years, and when my son was born, Sharon bought us a house 3 blocks from hers. We had lived in a downtown loft-style apartment, and this was honestly a relief. But with the house came Sharon constantly being in my life. Coming in the house unannounced, unsolicited advice, and snide remarks at my expense. Eventually, 18 months later, we had a blow-up fight and I moved my family across town to an apartment. My wife was pissed and our relationship has deteriorated. Sharon hates me and has turned most of their family against me. I didn't see or go to any of her family events for over a year. My wife still saw her family, but because I wasn't invited and they were over 30 minutes away, it was much less. Sharon went from seeing her grandson almost every day to once a month. So her hate for me went through the roof. The incident. My wife had to work and I was asked to take my son to his cousin's birthday party. The party was at Sharon's house, and if it wasn't my son's first cousin, 6 months apart, I would have said no. It was tense the moment I walked in the house. Father of birthday boy, brother-in-law, greeted me, but no one else spoke to me. I didn't mind and sat in the corner on my phone. This apparently pissed off Sharon because I was being rude. An argument ensues and I announce I'm leaving with my son. Sharon said, "You can go, but my grandbaby is staying." At this point I lost my cool and started cursing her out. I woke up on the front lawn. Apparently my 2 brother-in-laws beat the shit out of me in front of my kid. 2 of her cousins were helping me up and told me just to leave. I immediately called the police and said I was assaulted and my child was kidnapped. Police came and both brothers were arrested. Sharon lost her shit on the police and my wife drove up as her mother was being arrested for refusing to release my son. Her mom was eventually released, but her brothers were arraigned on assault charges. The father of the birthday had an assault charge from college, so he is facing some serious consequences. My wife is mad at everyone but asked me drop charges. I not only refused but got restraining orders for all 3 of them. Her mother isn't allowed to be near our kid and her brothers have court dates early next year. Last month she moved out the house. We are now headed for divorce. Yesterday she came with one last offer, for us to move cities and start over. But only if I dropped the charges on her brothers and removed the restraining order on her mom. I told her I would think about it, but I think I would rather get divorced. I honestly want to keep my family, but I don't believe she'll ever abandon her family for me. If I drop charges now, I doubt I can bring them back later. AITA for not trying to save my family? Edit. This blew up overnight. My wife's cousin DM'd me because she found it. She was there that day and told me to add some more context because her family is getting railed in the comments. She's right, so here are a few more things. I don't think anyone is evil in this situation. Everyone loves Sharon and her advice except me. She's not a mean person, but we are polar opposites in many ways. My wife is the baby and only girl, so I'm sure that has a lot to do with our conflict. Sharon losing her shit on the police was uncharacteristic, and even I was surprised. My wife is a great mom and partner, but her inability to be independent of her mom's influence is our issue. She is mad at her brothers and isn't talking to either. She's also mad at her mom for starting the argument and refusing to release our son. She's just trying to find a middle ground. I genuinely think she hopes a fresh start can save our marriage. Until we moved into that house, I would say our relationship was good. As far as her brothers and the assault. I remember the first hit, but I was dazed immediately. The last thing I remember was flailing like a child while getting hit a few more times. What I don't remember is my kid screaming to stop hitting my daddy and them picking me up and dropping me on the lawn like trash. I have to acknowledge that my pride hurt more than my bruises. I genuinely liked both her brothers and to be fair, "Fug you," and which came out of my mouth when I cursed out Sharon. I'm not 100% innocent. This is the South, so the police even said, "What did you expect to happen?" I don't know if I stopped pursuing this it would continue or not. Edit 2. I just want to comment on this because it keeps coming up. In the initial confrontation, the cops asked if I wanted them arrested, and I said yes. I was more bruised than bloody, and they were willing to let it go as a family dispute. That's where the "what did you expect to happen" conversation came from. I'm not pressing charges per se, but I'm not letting it go. I've done 2 interviews with police and have been fully cooperating. If I stopped, they might drop the charges because they seemed more annoyed than helpful. I doubt the younger brother will get more than a slap on the wrist. My wife's oldest brother, with a prior, is in a lot more trouble. He's the one everyone is worried about. Also, Sharon never went to jail. When my wife arrived, Sharon was being escorted to a car. My wife and her 2 uncles got Sharon to calm down, and they let her go. She wasn't being violent but was cursing and blocking them from entering the house. The only thing positive about the arrest, and Sharon's almost arrest, was it made getting a restraining order way easier. But even that took a month. Also, I had never talked to a lawyer, for any reason, or had any trouble with police. I honestly don't know how any of this works. I just found out the difference between parole and probation a few weeks ago.